Hey guys, All in Crypto here, and welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, for another YouTube video. Today we're going to be diving into our daily cryptocurrency market update. We're going to be doing a number of things. We are going to be looking at some charts, Bitcoin, and underneath here we've got the dollar currency index, most notably. We will be diving into a lot of the related news headlines currently circulating about the cryptocurrency space. Also looking at oil, wheat, gold, and the S&P. Because there's a lot of uncertainty gripping markets right now, and I don't think that we're on the other end of that. And there's really two scenarios. We have a restricting economy across the board. We have three very unfortunate situations present. We have a war, we have high inflation, and we have a tightening Federal Reserve. These are typically all precursors that lead into a recession. The answer is the question is that needs answering is, how does crypto fare during this kind of a time period that we may be moving towards? Remember, there's no guarantee of that. Things can change very quickly, but you have to kind of plan. As somebody who has a portfolio within the crypto space, it's always good for me to try and think ahead. And of course, no one can predict the future, but there are some things that are certainly worth paying attention to, and we're going to get into all that in this video. So we're going to start with Bitcoin. We know the story for Bitcoin. We are in this kind of range, and we are currently still on the wrong side of it. This was the halfway point that we had drawn, a very significant level that's seen multiple points of contact, sometimes as support, sometimes as resistance, currently acting still as resistance. And we're still on the wrong side of this. So on balance of probability, when you draw a range, if you're on the underside of it, typically, you're still aiming for a downtrending situation. However, we are very close to a potential uptrend. One thing that's really significant for Bitcoin is this MACD over here, ladies and gentlemen. We are about to get a MACD cross. And if you look historically, whenever we've had this MACD cross previously, it's always led to a run to the upside. The last one we had was over here, which you guys can see. And you can go back throughout time. If you guys want to know where you get your MACD from, go on your indicators, type in MACD, and you'll get it. And go on the weekly and you'll be able to see, you'll be able to go back in time, in history, in time, I guess is what you call it, and look at the charts and see, look, whenever you have this kind of a bullish cross, you had one over here, you get a pump to the upside. Is that coming? Potentially. And that gives me sort of confidence that Bitcoin is going to the upside. You guys know that there's nobody more bullish on the crypto space than myself. I think crypto is a technological revolution, or certainly blockchain, similar to the internet, the PC revolution, the motoring industry. It's a revolution that's going to affect our day-to-day lives moving forwards, or certainly play a role within it. You guys are listening to me over the internet, on a computer. Most of you probably drive cars. Similarly, the future that we're moving towards is going to involve blockchain. So I am bullish on Bitcoin. However, I'm always worried about the economy, certainly right now, because if we go into any kind of a serious downturn and the factors that would push us into that are certainly at play currently, how does crypto survive that? How does crypto fare within that kind of a storm? Now, there is the argument that it could excel and do very well. But there's also the argument that, okay, well, if we have crippling oil prices, we have very high food prices. In fact, we have food shortages in some regions, and a number of other things going through the roof. High inflation, tightening Fed, that cripples individuals. This is an article here. UK government budget gives little relief to young people squeezed by cost of living crisis. It is absolutely a crisis. I live in the UK. It's not just the UK. Prices have gone through the roof, and I don't think we've seen the worst of it yet, guys. And how does crypto hold in that? So this is something you guys have got to keep in the back of your minds. Many of you are new to the investment realm, but one thing that's become very apparent was previously, if you look at Bitcoin and its history, it's been very tethered to the 4-year halvening, which has created these 4-year cycle theories. We're now moving away from that, I believe, potentially setting up for a super cycle where this is just a continuation structure. This is not bear market structure like we've previously seen. This is markets changing, and potentially we go on more of a kind of early tech stocks growth cycle, which we've shown you on a number of occasions. We showed you Apple in comparison with this. So there's a lot going on, but ultimately, the outlook for Bitcoin currently, certainly technically, is we see that continuation to the upside. That's what I'm expecting. And over time, Bitcoin is only going one way, and its history has proven that, and it's going to continue to do so. And every single day, one reason we do these updates is to show you that cryptocurrency and blockchain adoption continues day in, day out. That is undeniable, ladies and gentlemen. Let's get into a few of the news articles surrounding the cryptocurrency space or involving the cryptocurrency space. Then let's look at Bitcoin and the dollar, go into some of our commodities, and then wrap this video up. So EU set to experiment with blockchain-based stocks, bonds, and fund trading. Lawmakers hailed the pilot legislation Wednesday as putting the bloc at the forefront of innovation. Absolutely. Again, crypto, blockchain technology, really, I should say, is exactly that. It's a technological revolution. It is changing the way that we do things and is making them significantly more efficient. And that's the real bull case for Bitcoin and crypto, that it's very early in its adoption cycle, and it's already the fastest adopted technology to date, and that's because we live in a more expansive and global world. Digital currencies could get a boost from the international crisis, BlackRock CEO says. Larry Fink is who I believe they're referring to here. BlackRock CEO believes the current crisis, added with growing inflation, would lead to the formation of a global digital payment network. I believe so. I also think, I could literally talk, and we may do a podcast. I've got some amazing people coming onto the channel who have been in markets for longer than I've been alive to discuss some of this stuff. But there's so much going on. I mean, we're at a critical point in history because the very definition of money is really up for grabs. I mean, if you understand that, you'll know just how much of a big deal Bitcoin and crypto is. And really, Satoshi, it's almost like divine intervention. He called things so accurately from 2008 onwards. He predicted what we're living through today. And that's why he created Bitcoin as an alternative to that. And when we see countries get sanctions issued upon them, maybe they're going to look for an alternative, because if I was a country, I'd be thinking, okay, I don't want the United States having this much power over me. They've very efficiently sanctioned Russia, and it's crippling their economy, and we've not seen the worst of it yet. They could do that with really any country, and that's the power they have as the reserve currency. So I would think that countries are maybe going to look for alternatives. Bitcoin currently in crypto does not have the liquidity to do that as it stands today, but that doesn't mean that it doesn't start to get into that kind of a position, but then it ultimately becomes a huge threat. So I'm really rambling and going sideways here where I should be going straight forward. But anyway, so BlackRock CEO ultimately looking to thinks that crypto could see an acceleration in terms of adoption as a result of all this. We're already seeing it have many use cases on both sides potentially for that sort of come out of this. We know that blockchain has been a huge way for the Ukraine to raise money. And you've seen many of the blockchain CEOs be very generous with the cryptocurrencies that they have. And this is another article covering it. Almost half of Germans to invest in crypto report. 44% of Germans are motivated to invest in crypto, according to a report released by KuCoin. What do the experts think? It's going to be a very small percent of the world actually own crypto in perspective. Fraction of that use it. And that's a section I'm bullish on. The likes of DeFi and a number of other things. We're seeing Coinbase are looking to facilitate a lot more of that. Guys, it's an amazing time to be alive. Yes, there's going to be volatility and ups and downs with it, but you guys are really at the forefront of a technological revolution. The UK government budget gives little relief to young people squeezed by cost of living. Yeah, this is not a good situation. We've also got the Bank of England sketched out first regulatory approach to crypto. So the world is moving to regulate it. We've also got a similar thing happening within the US with the executive order, which I think we're 3 weeks into now, and it was only 180 days that they've been tasked to do it. So we'll be getting that this year, along with a number of other things. And this could give crypto a huge green light. If we get a spot Bitcoin ETF, Bitcoin to the, it's would do a spot Bitcoin ETF would send Bitcoin almost parabolic, ladies and gentlemen. So really what I want to finish on, I've been listening to a lot of podcasts, a lot of really wise individuals within the economic space, and they're a little bit worried that, we've not seen inflation. We're going to get into the double-digit inflation. We've got a tightening Fed. We've got war situations. We've got restricted supply chains. it's not the brightest of picture that's being painted. And how does Bitcoin and crypto react to all that? That's the real question. And like I say, my bias is that we've not seen the worst of inflation. It's also that we've not seen the worst of these situations. They can escalate very quickly, and you've got to act accordingly being in the markets, because your markets, albeit crypto, that's now moved away from the 4-year cycle theory into a new kind of age, is tethered to all that. So it was really just to, we've got, I think oil continues. I think we're going to get, 150 plus dollars a barrel oil. Wheat, I think, is also going to continue. You've got to remember the Ukraine is a huge exporter of wheat. And you've also got the likes of, gold that I think is going to continue running. Of course, the S&P, I don't think we've seen the drop for the S&P necessarily just yet. I really don't. I think there still is potential further downside for the S&P and a number of other stocks. Right now, we are very tethered to the S&P. Almost less so tethered than the likes of the dollar, which we've almost been sort of moving away from. But there is still a kind of very, of course, a heavy correlation now as Bitcoin is weighed up here in opposition with the dollar. Does the dollar gain strength during all this? Potentially. Fed's upping interest rate rates means it becomes more expensive to borrow, which bolsters the dollar. Also, it cripples emerging economies. So in the dollar currency index, you've got a lot of other currencies pegged against it. So something to keep your eye on, guys, and please leave me a comment letting me know what your guys' thoughts are. What do you think the outcome of a recessionary economy would potentially be on crypto? That doesn't have to happen. It doesn't have to be the case, but it's certainly a scenario to pay attention to. So that's really all I have for you in this video, guys. I'm going to love and leave you on that note. If you've enjoyed this content, a like is always appreciated. So is a comment. Enjoy your Thursdays, ladies and gentlemen, and I'll catch you all in the next YouTube video. Thank you very much for watching, guys.